that empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless.
Today's Tuesday, October 29th, 2022. Time is 2:23 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hi, friends. Dennis Snappy II here with Sixth Sense Media. I'm going to go over my remote viewing results, my remote viewing data for my world events predictions for November 2022. I completed this session on October 23rd, 2022, looking ahead into the future to see what will be presented in the media, what's happening in the world. Before I get into that, I want to give two quick commercials here. One is a shameless self-plug here, but if you're enjoying the work that you see that I put out here, I'd like to direct your attention to my website, sixthsensemedia.net, where you can check out my remote viewing projects, all my episodes of the Secret Podcast. I have some Reiki information here, and then a link to my books. What I love here about this, it's right here. Links take you to my big projects right here. My I Am Human series is right here. And then a link to my new book, The Hive, Part 1, The Virus, the Infected, and the Immune. That's my first public work of fiction that I put out, but is it fiction? You decide. So, and then the next site I want to direct your attention to is cryptoviewing.com. This is where they do the real remote viewing work every single week. It's an amazing experiment with the remote viewers in the world, remote viewers on the team at what they're looking at and all the relevant links you'll need. I know a lot of you have found me through crypto viewing, but those of you who would really like to see the experts do what they do, people that I look up to as role models, mentors, and just all around amazing people, check them out, cryptoviewing.com. Okay, so I want to talk about my remote viewing session for November 2022. Again, I took last month off just because I needed a break from all the noise. I did a podcast instead. And I got to say, it felt really good to get behind the mic and do a podcast again. I'm going to try to get more of them out just because I've felt, and I don't know if this ties into remote viewing or not, but looking at everything in total, these processes that we go through as remote viewers and how we synthesize information and learn, really, because that's what I think this is all about, is this learning journey. Podcasting really helps me to process information and deal with a lot of stress and anxiety. I felt a lot better when I did that. So I'm going to try to have a couple more podcasts coming out based on some amazing remote viewing targets that I've done with Hellfire. We've got some really good targets that I haven't had a chance to publish yet that the Hellfire group has been working on. So more to come on that. Let me get into my data here for November 2022. All right, target ID 2022-1101, World Events, November 2022. The way I wrote my tasking, viewer will describe the major news events that happen and are reported in the media in November 2022. Again, if you've watched previous sessions, I task myself slightly differently each month, trying to find a system that works. This is just a more broad tasking here, catching anything that's out there. Some months I'll go as far as to put specific websites and specific dates where I'm targeting my information. I find I do okay with those, but it feels a little bit more stressful when I'm going through it. But sometimes when I put these broad taskings, I also feel pretty stressed out because there's just so much information coming in. All right, so here's my data here. Again, this was October 23rd, 2022 that I did this session here. My first session here. I wasn't feeling so confident, again, because I had a rough month here. So I wrote, I feel unsure here. My first event, I was getting movement, I was getting life, and just low-level data here. Flat, hard object, and I tapped into some life. They were calm, focused, thin, and I saw they were squinting. I don't know if they were squinting or they had more, smaller eyes. I wasn't sure. And there was an outside structure here. And I had an AOL of like a prison or I said eloping or escaping. And then I saw this briefly. I saw these. The first thing I saw were these high walls here, and I had an AOL high walls or a compound here, but it was quiet. The sounds were quiet, and it felt peaceful and restful. And as I was looking at this image that I sketched, I then saw this archway with life forms, and I labeled it as an entryway. AOLs of castle gates or castle walls. Was there something with charity? And I saw this life, female, squinting. They may have had a hat on. And I had an AOL of, I can't say the name, Ghislaine Maxwell, the woman that's in prison for all those horrible things. And then I just got these phrases in my head, crowds of people, they were collecting, they were gathering. And then the word stone circle as an AOL. And this was my next sketch. This was location based. Everything felt calm. People were quietly walking. The weather was warm. I saw this building, this structure with like these weird shaped archways. They weren't square doorways. They were more rounded and curved. And was it a rally or was it a protest? And I did get a strong Latin America feel. I'm not very good at location data, but that's what came through as an AOL. And I had something about women. Again, life with black hair. I think it was this same figure up here. Life with black hair, maybe curly. And it just felt like the 1980s. I don't know why. I just had this 1980s feel. And I think maybe that had something to do with the fashion or maybe the energy behind these life forms here. And then I wanted to move to the optimum position and sketch and describe what I was seeing. And I saw a woman and there was a focus on her breasts. I don't know if I think what I visualized someone in like a crop top or a half top. And she was sad, she was solemn, she was disappointed, but this was something empowering. It was political. What was most important was to gain attention. It was like a mock event to draw attention. Look at me. This is what's happening. But it felt quiet there. It was non-aggressive. It was more like a performance. And again, Latin America, was it Mexico? Was it? And then I got the word Chichen Itza, which is the Mayan pyramid in Mexico. So I don't know. I'm not sure what this was trying to tell me here. So I moved to the next event, top global news. And then this, again, everything's so front loaded in my head with Russia, but I got it out there. I don't know that this is a prediction, but I had this headline pop through. Russian military, and the first word I heard was kills millions. I don't think that's going to happen. I think this is just me working through my conscious mind, but I left it as a blank. Is it kills? Is it housed? Is it threatens? Is it lost? Is it abandoned? I had Vlad Putin, destructive, death warranted, but this felt significant here. This information did feel Putin is calm and calculated. He does not care about something horrible. Is it neglect? Is it abuse? He's alone. He's isolated, but he's not paranoid. He's disciplined. And there is a difference. And I wrote down staircase. I didn't realize until after my session. I did a world events prediction, I guess, 2 months ago, and it had a world leader on a staircase after a major monument had been attacked or fallen. So I'm wondering if this is still the same thing. I don't want to try to justify data that didn't come true. But again, this being an experiment, sometimes I wonder with the big stuff, do we get elements of that months in advance when we're just trying to look 30 days out, because it creates such a ripple effect through our perception of time. So I do have a couple of events that were larger that I'm keeping an eye on to see if I did just call it out months ahead of time, but I'm not sure yet. All right, move to more top news as my cue here, my movement. This felt energetic right away. Looking at this ideogram here, I definitely felt waves. And then I interpreted that as water, but I'm not sold on this being a water event. I wrote down a water event with multiple waves, but what was strongest here was just waves, multiple waves coming through. Heard alarm sounds. I felt animal life. And I just got this heat, and the sun felt very hot, high radiation. Was there a blast zone, an impact zone? It reminded, and then I got a reminder of the Japan tsunami. But in that tsunami, we had the water event, but we also had Fukushima with the radiation event too. So I don't know what I'm tapping into there. But what's most important about this event? Life, thrive. And I drew this circular sketch, and right away, just AOL. I don't think it means anything. UFO and shower. But as I'm exploring this and probing this sketch, I had strands, stringy, fibrous, and then the word irradiate. And I did see briefly life forms covered, and they were there for decontamination, had an Asian feel. There was something on their skin. So I saw like 2 or 3 people in a tiled room, and their skin was either covered in like a white powder or a yellow powder. It was just covered in something. 2 to 3 life forms in a room with hard tiled walls. They were naked and their skin is covered in a white or yellow substance. Radiate, irradiate, and I had an AOL of Holocaust as well. And then I moved to the next event, and I honestly don't know if these events are related or not. But I moved to the next event, and I had this shape here moving fast, coming in, hovering, and then gone. There was a humming sound behind it. And I had mass casualties. And then I had, this should be an AOL here, stealth wing bomber. That should be an AOL. But I had this triangular shape, and this is my view from below, as if I'm on the ground looking up, and it was moving very slow over an urban setting. And I almost felt like this is one of the triangular military UFOs that people have reported over the years that you see on like the X-Files and stuff, or like you hear coming out of Area 51. It was moving very slow. I had an AOL, this being military related. It flashes, there were pictures, there were images, and I felt that the purpose of this thing was to observe or conduct some kind of reconnaissance, but it was very slow moving over an urban setting. And I just said, this is not a good sign. And then I was back to flying into the sun and observing. And again, I got the sense of radiation. Now, I don't feel that my data is very strong this month. When I went into this session, I was nervous just because, I don't know, my confidence wasn't where it always is, but I wanted to get a session done. I wish that I would have probed certain data points for more information and expanded upon it, but I'm kind of going through a reset with my world events sessions here. But I wanted to share this with everybody just because it's helpful to me as part of my process to get this information out there, to put it up in a video, to talk to all of you about it, to hear your thoughts and your comments on it as well, on what you think. It helps me to process that. So I'm incredibly grateful to all of you for sharing your thoughts and your wisdom with my sessions here. So I'm hoping for next month I'll feel a little bit more grounded and can put a stronger session together to take a look into the future to see what might be coming for us. I can only speculate where things are going based on my data, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. So if you see any common threads or commonality, please let me know in the comments. This is a short one this month, my friends, but I'd love to hear your thoughts. So I'm going to wrap it up there. But again, remember to check out cryptoviewing.com. And if you want to support my work directly, sixcentsmedia.net. You can find just about everything that I do, that I've done. You can find links to all my books, and that's a great way to help support what I'm doing. And I think you'll find some great content there as well. So that's going to do it for this one. Dennis Nappy II here with Sixth Sense Media. Remember to keep an open mind, never stop questioning, let your intuition be your guide.
Now you put water into
Thanks.
a cup. It becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow, or it can crash. Be water, my friend. Be water, my friend. Be water, my friend. My friend. Be water, my friend. My friend.